you said something about evaluating, and it's a combination of stage time, and knowing what you're doing, and evaluating. How important is self-evaluation in comedy?
It's not important if you want to take 5 or 10 years to get good. Not important at all.
Let's say you want to go faster than 5 or 10 years. How important is it?
Oh, you want to do this in weeks and months instead of many months and years?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how important it is. If you're able to make intelligent adjustments to your material and know what you're doing, and you've prepared to deliver a professional stand-up comedy entertainment product, which is what people are doing. They don't realize this, even at the open mics. But if you're willing to do that and then go through and make intelligent adjustments on your material, you can take mediocre material and move it into what I call the A-list or headliner category in anywhere from 3 to 5 performances, possibly less. It depends on how people apply the information that I have to offer. But you know from yourself, we had talked about this before, you yourself go back and take a look at every single performance that you do, especially when you're doing new material, and you want to gauge the impact of that material right away, and you don't want to spend 10 or 12 performances developing that material, do you?
No, you don't have time for that.
And there's
every time you get on stage, you have to. Stage time is precious, and every time you get on stage, if you're not honing in and making your material sharper, then you're wasting stage time.
Well, and stage time is especially precious right at the beginning when you're a very unknown entity.
Right.
So
right.
It would behoove anybody to move as fast as they could.
Right. And you have a tool for doing evaluations that is really pretty remarkable, and it didn't exist when I was a newbie. It didn't exist when I was doing open mics, and if you don't have it, if you don't have the Comedy Evaluator Pro, then you're relegated to going, well, I think this was okay. I think this was pretty. I think this was decent. But just briefly, what is the Comedy Evaluator Pro, and how does that help develop material?
Well, if you want to develop and deliver headliner-level stand-up comedy material, you need to be able to produce 18 or more seconds of laughter on average for each performing minute that you're on stage. That's how you're going to get ahead in this business. And I didn't make up this. I just developed a way to measure it. This is something that comedians have been doing, headliner comedians have been doing for years and years and years, without the benefit of my software that shows people, how many seconds of laughter they generated on any given minute in their act. And you've got to, as well as I do, you can't get anywhere if you're out there bombing. It just isn't going to happen. This isn't a government job. So you've got, so people using Comedy Evaluator Pro are able to tell exactly which of their punchlines worked, how much laughter each of those punchlines delivered, was able to generate, how many seconds of laughter for each minute. There's a positive audience response score that is what fraction of each minute should have been laughter, which is 30 is the minimum. That's 18 seconds of laughter is 30. 20 seconds of laughter each minute is a third of a minute. I mean, there's still only 60 seconds in a minute. I checked this morning before we got on the phone.
Did you? Okay, because I don't have that number in front of me.
Just to make sure, there's still 60 seconds in a minute, and you just don't have time to mess around as a comedian. Otherwise, you open yourself up to issues, as you probably well know. Yeah,
you heavy drinking and suicide. Yeah. All right. So can you give us an idea of what students are going to learn? What comedians are going to learn in the online course? What the content is?
Oh, sure. The very first training module is all about the stuff that doesn't work, and I'm a firm believer that if you don't know what doesn't work, then you'll get sucked into that. So that's what the first training module is about. The second training module is there to make people aware of what is what it is that makes them funny in everyday life so they can use it on stage. And common sense would dictate if you don't know what it is about yourself that makes you funny, it makes it really difficult to use that on stage.
Yeah, there's no question about that. So you learn what it is about your particular personality as an individual.
Absolutely.
That makes you funny.
Absolutely.
And it's probably going to be different from other comedians.
Oh, everybody is their own unique person. They just don't realize it. What they tend to fall into is this thing about, I've got to become some special character, which you don't.
Right.
You need to know what you're doing on stage. Then after that, I talk about a lot of issues involving different types of stand-up comedy material, stuff that'll won't get you laughs, information about stand-up comedy material that can get you paid less than what you're worth, how to maximize that kind of stuff. So I go into that so that people are aware of those kinds of things, because as a comedian, you're out there to entertain that audience. Just getting up and using profanity every other word isn't going to get you anywhere.
Right.
And all the things that I have to teach are not specific to the type of comedy, type of delivery, type of anything that somebody wants to do. It's unique to them. Doesn't matter. Then from there, I go into how to begin to choose your topics, what to talk about that's specific to you. Then how to flesh those out, step by step by step. Then how to tightly structure that before you take it into the professional rehearsal stage, which there's 2 stages of rehearsal. And as you well know, John, when you first start talking out, for lack of better terms, your stand-up comedy material, it changes a lot. It can change a lot right in the beginning stages. It's not quite finished yet because you haven't talked it out.
Right.
So there's 2 phases, and one is where you're still kind of in the comedy material development stage. And then once you have it as tight as you can get it, then you go into the professional rehearsal stage. This is it. This is what you're going to deliver. This is how you're going to deliver it professionally, and here's how you do it in order to gain the maximum advantage that you can have, which you know as well as I do, and I know you've been to open mics. People are completely and totally unprepared before they get on stage. It is absolutely amazing.